Hey all, welcome back to Fort Mort. So today I've got a great subject for you. It's about the territory battles and how to maximize your stars. And I know you hear this all the time, but I'm telling you, this is 100% effective. I don't care what your GP is. If you're casual, we're casual at 130 million GP and we're getting 40 stars out of 45. Pretty strong, right? It also saves the officers time. And I suggest highly, and I know that I'm promoting my channel here, but I've only got 100 subscribers, so a lot of people aren't going to see this. I just started out. I highly recommend that you show this to your guildmates because this is going to give them a better appreciation for how much the officers do, how much time they put in, and it'll give them a pure understanding of what they should be doing. In the end, as an officer for the TBs or an officer in general, this is going to pay off huge for you. At the end of this video, I'll also have a ton of quick tips how to make this work and how to actually make it even better. So the two big confusing, actually the biggest confusion in this whole TB is platoons. How do I know what we have to platoon? How do I track it? This is so overwhelming. I'm going to underwhelm that for you. A little bit of work up front will pay off in the end. I used to spend hours a day running these TBs and begging and babysitting and moving things around. I said, there's got to be a better way. That's how I came up with this. So I'm telling you, you're going to appreciate it. All right, to start out, so for platoons, you've got multiple ways to find out how you can fill platoons. The first thing I'm going to show you, if you Google SWGOH Territory Battle Platoons, you'll get this up. And this is straight from CG, SG, or SB Crum, whatever his name is. He updates all of the platoons and puts them in an Excel spreadsheet. If I want the Geonosians, they're down below here. You got dark side and light side. And then you also, if you click the main link here, it'll bring up your Hoth, light side and dark side. So you do want to keep up with this every time that it comes around and see if anything's changed. I guarantee if a new character came out, it's probably changed by 1 or 2 characters. So you need to update it. It's not that difficult though. It's very little work on the back end. So currently I'm using the light side. So I'm going to go ahead and click on light side. It's going to ask me if I want to open it. It's safe. It's from CG. And then I open up this Excel spreadsheet and you'll see they've got, and you can't see it on my screen, but at the bottom you got tabs for phase 1 through 6. So let's go to phase 6, for example. I go ahead and I copy and paste this and I paste it to my Excel sheet or number sheet. And then from here, I'm looking, okay, well, what do I do now? Well, I've got ship platoons, middle platoons, and bottom platoons. And I know that we are missing This Mar, and we are missing some TIE Reapers and B-28. Well, how do I know that? So you go to .gg, and you pull up your guild right here. So my Vanguard CDP, if you're looking for a great guild, let me know. So then from there, I go to TB platoons right here. Click on that and it'll bring up all 4, light side, dark side, Geonosian, light side, dark side. So let's say I want to go to phase 6, click on phase 6, and this will bring up all of the requirements. So Hermit Yoda, you need 8 of them. We have 11. So we're pretty close there. I see here that I'm missing 3 TIE Reapers. I'm missing 2 B-28s. And I obviously need to update This Mar because our guild has gotten 5 and I was not aware of that. That must be some of the new guild mates that we got in. So that's good news for us. So I'll go ahead and show you right here live. I'm going to go ahead and clear that and open that up. You'll see I've got red at the top right here saying that we couldn't do it before. Now we can. So now we can do all platoons for the bottom and the middle. So the only thing we're short on here is, like I said, was the TIE Reaper and the B-28. So what I do is I do a search for TIE Reaper and I see that I've got all these here. So I know that I don't have 2 of them, so I have to figure out which platoons I want to close off because there's no way we can fill them. Well, I know I can't get a B-28 either, so I know this one is no good. So I find the second hardest one to fill, and I close that one off until we get a TIE Reaper. Now I know we can fill 4 of 6. From there, I convert over to the map. And on my map instructions, I put 1, 2, 4, and 6 fill only. Once they do that, I open the map up, we're good to go. I'm also creating a Discord channel, so hopefully I'll be able to post some of this, such as this map that I made as well that I'll get into that'll help. And one other way, my alt guild utilizes this. I don't know the validity of it or how well it works. I know that we're not filling platoons, but we're just now getting organized. They're a 120 million GP guild. There's a bot called Echo Station. It assigns me, I got no assignments here, and I got to fill Ewok, Elder, and Papu here, and that assigns everybody in the guild. I trust my work more than that, and I've been doing it a long time, and this method works, but this is another option for you. So if you're any good with Discord, that is an option. Again, if you guys have any questions on that, I'm going to have a stream set up and keep an eye out for that. Make sure to hit the subscribe and alert so that you don't miss it. Okay, the second hardest thing and the most confusing thing for your guild mates and I know even as an officer, this took me a while to figure it out, how the platoons affect the areas. So as you'll see right here, the orange dot, the pointer says this is where we're at right now. The yellow says that's what it affects. So if I move to this one right here, you'll see that there are 3 levels on every one of these platoons. This one has an effect where allies have defense and chance to dispel. At level 2, it's got plus 25 defense and critical avoidance. And in level 3, add 20% health recovery per turn and 20% dispel chance. So there are offensive abilities, and then there are also opponent abilities. Those are the ones you really got to get rid of. Like in this current stage, the orbital bombardment, if you don't fill up the platoon like you need to, and when you go into phase 6, you're going to get bombarded and wipe you out unless you're, I don't know, 85k or better. So your lower end guys can actually get 6 of 6 if you fill the platoons, which means more stars, which means more rewards. Platoon patience is important. Oh, here's a real good example. This one right here actually affects the bottom 2. So we need to fill these platoons to eliminate all of this physical damage, minus 35% damage. So it's a huge crush on your abilities. So if you fill those platoons, and then this one affects itself, and this one affects itself. So you've got 2 different platoons affecting each of these. The bottom one's affected by ships and its own. The middle one is affected by ships and its own. One that's even more confusing, and this is probably the most confusing one in the game. These 3 behind it, there's no way that it could affect it. So I think that's a glitch by CG, and I think that's what confused me for a long time. Because by the time you get to this, you can't go backward. If you guys know anything different, I'd love to hear otherwise. So this one in particular, this one affects 6 areas. So as you'll see, you've got 6 of them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that it affects. So on today's map, I shut this down and told these guys to fill it 2 of 6. Now the reason I say 2 of 6, 2 of 6 affects the first 2 areas we're in right here. 4 of 6 affects these 2 areas here, and 6 of 6 affects these 2 areas here. So once you get the 2 of 6, you can go ahead and start your attacks, have your full abilities, and you're good to go. When I mean reading it, if you look at this area, planetary shield and rear trenches, power generator, forward trenches, outer pass, snowfields, that's all of these. If you look at the name right here, rear trenches, power generator. Before this is closed out, it would basically say level 1 affects power generator mission right here and rear trenches only. Then level 2 would say affects forward trenches, outer pass. But then you've also got platoons that only affect the forward areas. So you got to pay attention to platoons before you open and close them. What I do, and you guys are welcome to use this, instead of spending each day going in and filling out the maps and everything else, I have got it set up, and I also pin this in our Territory Battle Discord page, and it shows me, it reminds me exactly how I got to set it up. So phase 1, I don't even bother because we just fly through it. Phase 2, deploy farthest area from 3-star, which I'll get into that. And then this one's a unique one, and it works really well. Deploy dark side top, light side bottom. I'll get into that in just a second. But this is all the instructions, so all I have to do, take that instruction, fill out all my commands on any areas that I need to, like here, and I'm done. No more for the rest of the week. Once in a while, I'll pop in and make sure that we're hitting the number we need to. On the deploy dark side, light side only. So the reason this works, you see right here, we're about 4 million away, and here we're about 4 million away. See how balanced that is? My guys are attacking, doing all the areas, and we're perfectly balanced where we need to be. And the reason that is, this area on the bottom's only got 1 mission. So you're only getting points for 1 mission. This one's got 2. So when you go into a light side map, you're using 300,000 worth of your light side GP on attacks. So you're cutting your GP in half or partially whatever, and then your dark side's just sitting there stale. So your dark side's going to be, let's say, 600,000. Your light side's now going to be 300,000. So you're dumping 600,000 plus 1 mission and 300,000 plus 200 mission, and it's staying balanced. So that's the way it works all the way through. Also, just want to point out, guys, I made this map, and you'll see this is what this area affects. Both these areas. This one affects itself. Imperial Fleet affects this one and this one, and they affect themselves. So I'll have that here too if you want to copy and paste that, or I'll pin it in my Discord when I get that created this week. On the dark side map, I actually tell my guys to deploy 75% and 25%. In order to do that, if you guys don't know how, so if you go to deploy, you can see your unallocated is 1.9 million. So I can click on these individually and look down here and see how much I'm doing, or go ahead and clear it. I can select them all and deploy them all right there, or I can issue light side only. So I'm deploying 975, and then when I do the bottom or the middle, select all, and I'm going to do 933. So as you see, I got 933 for dark side. Okay, if you don't know how to deploy separate units, so there's a few ways to do this. You go into deploy. Let's say on this one I want to do light side only. So I've already attacked. So I've issued about 300k in GP, so I've only got 614 to deploy. But on the dark side, I've got 900,000 because I haven't used any dark side characters. That's what I was talking about earlier. So that's the way you would deploy that. So pick dark side, select them all, and then hit deploy. Light side, obviously the other way around. Select them all, 614 to go. Now let's say that you've only got like 300,000 you need to fill up right there. So there's another way to do that, and it's a little bit longer, but you can basically click on individual characters until you get to 300,000. So I got 311 right here. If I want to get exactly 300,000, I can drop one off and throw one of my little guys in there, two of my little guys, and that's as close as I'm going to get. I mean, you can figure it out any way you want. Almost exactly 13,000 away, so I can get to 299,995. The reason I say this, if you deploy all of them and you 3-star, all the excess that you had gets wasted, which you could use in another area. So don't waste it. Utilize this way to save it. So let's say I had to deploy 300,000 here, and then that left me with another million or whatever, then I can go ahead and deploy it here. So that's how you individually deploy. For officers, here's a quick tip that I learned recently. Where you type in your messages, you can actually change and make a permanent message. So all you got to do is click on that, hit OK, and then that message will pop in there. All right, now I want to talk about the most beneficial thing that we've done for our territory battles, and that was creating a deployment team. I recently did this with my alt guild. I gave them the idea and they're eating it up. So what we do is we take from 6 to 10 players who can consistently show up within 3 hours of reset time. So for me, at 12 o'clock at reset, so sometime after 9, I'll log in, take a look, see where we're at, see how short of stars we are. So let's say we logged in right now and this was at 2 stars going for 3 and nobody else is attacked. I can tell my deployment team, go ahead and issue the rest of this just shy of 3 million, and then go ahead and top that one off there at 2 million or whatever, and they'll top it off. So you never know what players are going to show up, which aren't on a daily basis, even though they got 24 hours to show up. But near the end, and normally within an hour of reset time, we'll go ahead and deploy our deployment team. So our deployment team will they'll platoon, they'll attack, but they'll hold all their GP until right before reset, and then wherever we need it, we throw it in there. Now, this is a great method because nobody here matters in personal points. You drop your ego, doesn't matter who's in first place. It doesn't matter. This guy isn't even the biggest guy in our guild. One of these guys is down here, and they've got a lower point total, but it doesn't matter because ultimately the rewards come from the total guild GP. It doesn't matter your individual score. Drop your ego. So get some volunteers to do that TB deployment team. Once I'm done begging for everybody to show up and do their thing like they're supposed to, I come into here and I talk to the deployment team and I say, okay guys, let's go ahead and deploy. And sometimes we have to do it individually because when you're like within 300,000, let's say, if 2 guys try to dump that 300,000 at the same time, all that's going to get wasted because one guy's going to do it and the other is going to do it, so it throws. So I'll say, hey Dan, do me a favor, top off bottom. I'll move the rest of the guys to the middle. So keep that in mind. Don't overfill because you just throw GP away. So the deployment team is, if you get anything from this video, start a deployment team. You got to be reliable. 95% of the time can show up when you need them to. On Discord, you guys get the drill. Most of you guys probably know this, but I know a lot of guild members don't know this. If you click on the dot here where it says number 8, and you click on here, and I can tell who's contributed for the entire thing. I can also look up and see who's platooning. Now, keep in mind, stage 1, we fly through it so fast that people aren't going to get a chance to platoon. Some people are right on at noon, so I don't really utilize that one a whole lot, but I do utilize this one, combat mission waves completed, and see who's actually doing the waves. So you'll see a lot of them down here haven't done any, which is telling me that if they've got GP, they're just deploying, which is fine, but if they're doing it every time that we have a TB, that becomes an issue for me. Life does happen, people can't show up because it is sometimes it can be lengthy doing your attacks. I'm at the point where I can auto mine, so it's not a big deal, especially when the platoons are filled. You can also see rogue actions, so if somebody, like right here, Ash has got one, I'm sure it was for a reason, it's a good guild member, but if you block off an area and somebody attacks it, that basically tells you that they went rogue, and you can address that. And then my favorite part of this, I can look at every phase. Phase 1 and phase 2, we 3-star them all. We may have them done before people get a chance to attack. So what I do is look at the individual phases. So let's look at today's. Territory points don't really matter. GP deployed is what matters to me. So if I go in here and I look and I can see who is deployed and who is not. So it's still early in the day. I got a lot of people that have not. And then some of my deployment team, like Drifter right here, he's done his attacks and he's held back his deploy. Kobe's done his attacks and he's held back his deploy. So they're doing their job. I can also tell who's completed all of their combat missions, but there's a better way that I utilize. So if you look up in this corner, and I learned this recently as well, when you click on a mission, you can look up in this corner and this says that 16 of your 50 guild members have attacked that area. So I've got 16 here, 15 here, 19 here, and 15 here, which is kind of in balance. And it tells me we still got a lot more that need to go. And then special missions basically tells you, like the Leia mission, how many people have completed it. So you know, you can count these off. Let's say there's 25 or something that we're going to get that many shards tomorrow morning. But the big one for me is that corner right here. That tells me if we're getting close, we might be in trouble here. But again, that deployment's there, the deployment team's there to save us and deploy right before reset. So the other thing that can do is, let's say that these are completely imbalanced because you shut one area off for platoons, you have an idea of how many people are left to attack that as well. All right, guys, that's the end of that. I'm sorry it was so lengthy, but it is very confusing. These TBs are a lot of fun for me, but they're also very frustrating from an officer standpoint, especially when you're running these damn things. I'm putting this out for my guild in particular to look at, or my guilds to look at, so they can understand exactly how the process works. If anyone has any questions, comment below. Also, if you go ahead and subscribe to this channel and hit the alert button, I'm planning on doing a stream as soon as I get my equipment set up. I just got a bunch of equipment. As soon as I get it organized, and we'll have a good time and we can go over this method. I'm going to have that stream particularly just for this method to teach it. Hopefully some of my guild members will show up too. So if they have any questions, if you guys individually have any questions, that can help you out as well. All right, we pretty much come to the end of the video. I told you I'd give you some tips at the back end right here for officers and for guild. Once you as the TB officer have figured out who your platoons are that you're missing, start getting volunteers to side farm those people so that you can improve your platoons, because if you improve your platoons, your score rockets. If you can fill all your platoons, you will not believe how many more stars you will get. It's crazy. If I can't get a volunteer, I will basically say, hey, I need you, right? If you guys are a serious guild, you're assigned to do it. We couldn't get any volunteers, you're the next one to do it. Obviously try to be as fair as possible, but it's got to get done. I'm fortunate I'm in a guild where a bunch of guys have volunteered to take it. And keep in mind, if you don't need to level that character up. Let's say you need to get Lobo. You just need him at 7 stars. You open up a 7-star Lobo. What's his GP? 1,000? 1,200? You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt you. Don't level him, just star him. Here's a key tip too, and I do this with my lineup. I have a very, very bloated lineup on my main. My others, I'm very focused, but because I'm bloated, I'm a huge asset to the TB. I've got a lot of the rare characters. So like First Order TIE Pilot ship, a lot of people don't have that. I've had it for a long time. I'd make sure to drop that one in. Ebon Hawk, Emperor Shuttle, B-28 ship. There are a lot of the rare tunes that need to be platooned. Everybody really needs to get in the habit of looking for those rare tunes that you know a lot of people don't have. If you've got a Lobo, drop him in there. Don't just start platooning. Look around, look at the platoons, don't drop any, and see who are those characters that we probably don't have, and platoon them. All you're doing is helping the officers and you're helping the rest of the guild. And then on the other side of that coin, if you've got a really bloated lineup, like today, I went in, I broke up my JKR team and I broke up my Padme team, knowing that all the platoons were going to get filled, and I still got 6 of 6 because I dropped Annie in, I dropped Yoda in, and then I dropped all the rare characters that I had in as well, so that we can fill those platoons. And keep this in mind, your lower end GP guildmates need to save as many of their characters as possible so that they can complete the missions. If we force them to drop their Jedi Knight Revenant, let's say they're a 1.2 million GP account, they're not going to be able to offer much, but if we make them platoon their Yoda, they break up their JKR, they're only going to get 3 of 6 on the phase, while if they keep that Yoda, they may get 6 of 6, which is a huge difference. If you look at this sheet right here, the difference in points from phase 1 to phase 6 is 280,000 or something, right? It's a crazy amount. And even if it hurts you and you only get 5 of 6, but because you dropped that rare tune in there and had to break up your team, think about all the other guys that just went from phase 3 to phase 5 or phase 6. How many extra points they get. So I got it marked right here. If you drop off and only get 5 of 6, you get 258,000, but 3 other guildmates make it up to 5 from 4. They get 213,000 more for the guild. So it's worth it. So platoon, platoon, platoon. On a final note, I'll do a very condensed version of this video for all the other Hoth and SWGOH TBs. Obviously, I don't need to go through all of this again. This is going to be the longest of the videos. That way you guys can get an idea how we focus on this area right here. You can see all my map instructions. how many stars we're getting currently, and then what platoons that we fill, and then who we need to farm. All right, guys, that's it for today. I appreciate you checking it out. I know this is going to help you. Share it with your officers. Share it with your guildmates. I'm telling you, it is worthwhile. You guys get anything from this little channel, it's going to be this right here. You guys are awesome. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that alert button so you can get on that stream or see future videos. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Shut up and sit down.